Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards. This is an important panel we're going to have right now with the cast and crew of Legacy of Lies, which is our opening feature film this year, 2021, fourth edition of the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards. It's an action film. It's also a very interesting drama, and the characters are amazing. The director, we've already talked with him a couple of days ago. It's on Facebook and YouTube. You can watch the full interview with Adrian Ball and get to know him a little bit better and get to know the movie a little bit better. This morning, we're going to have three actors of the film, and I'm going to welcome them right now. Julia, welcome.
Hi
Victor,
guys.
welcome. Martin, welcome. And Adrian, welcome back. How are you doing, guys? So when was the last time, guys, you've been you saw each other? I guess it was a little bit ago.
It's been a while since I've seen Victor and Martin, but I've seen Julia not so long ago, honestly. About 2 minutes ago. So she's in the room next door. So that's
Okay.
We are close
Okay.
to each other.
Get
I
it.
think we saw Victor like not so long ago, no? Like I guess last summer maybe. Yeah.
Last summer, Victor?
Before COVID. Yeah, before COVID.
Yeah.
Maxime. Yes, Maxime.
Yeah, that was a while ago already. But yeah, with these COVID times, it seems like it was relatively close because we
Like
haven't had
oh
yeah, in Barcelona, was it, right?
Let's get into it. We have this movie, Legacy of Lies, which is opening the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards this year, and we are very happy about it. The movie is great, and we have three cast members this morning. I've already been talking to you, Adrian, so I hope you have some more stories in your purse so you can share some experience with us. But this morning, I'm going to be very interested in the actors and actress perspective on that film. So let's start with, I don't know, Martin. Martin, you play Trevor in the movie. How did
Yes.
you end up being on that film? How was the casting process and how did you join the adventure?
Well, it was those one of those classic things where, obviously now it's normal, but where you do an audition, where you do it on your own, a self tape, and
Self tape.
yeah, and I find them impossible to get. There's something you think it's going to be great, but you never get them. And I remember that got this through and had to do it really quickly because my family were going to Norway, where my wife's family is. And so I just got into it, and I found it really, it fit. I remember feeling like, wow, this feels good. This feels like well written, and then it kind of went from there. But,
Which is usually a good sign. When you have a good feeling, when your guts tell you from the beginning this is going to be good, usually it's based on something, and that's a good sign.
yeah, and the other thing about that is that it's better not to analyze exactly what you're doing technically or whatever, that you're trying to, and that's a process that carries on once you're preparing for the actual part. But when you're auditioning for it, you want to find that same relaxed whatever that comes from being inside something, and kind of go for that, and make it as sort of natural, if you will, as possible.
Yeah,
You know,
that's the
and
name of the game.
so I think that the script, right from the get-go, it just felt like it flowed in that really organic way.
Organic way. Victor, same process, usual casting, and then you got into Legacy of Lies.
Well, actually, in my case, it was a little bit different because I already knew Adrian from some other projects when he was living in Barcelona. So we did a short film together, and I was one of the actors, and so we established a very strong relationship. But for this movie, actually, he was counting first with I think it was a Scottish actor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, that you had for the role of Maxim. But there were some issues with his hiring, and then of course, I'm glad that I came into his mind.
Yeah.
And as he already knew how I work, and actually the role I did in his short movie was very similar or relatively similar to Maxim. So in a way, I got like a direct hire, and I was there
Cool.
ready to go to Ukraine and shoot. Yeah.
And show the film. Julia, how did you end up working on Legacy of Lies?
Well, I received the self-tape from, I found it actually casting online, and then I received the to make a self-tape, which was horrible. Adrian told me after, but but he saw a showreel of mine, and which was kind of okay, I think, which was good, and he liked it, and they asked me to call back. For me, it's always like Martin said, it's like dancing in the dark in a way when you receive a self-tape. It's like you don't know, you don't have any indications from the director, you don't know what is the character. So, but I fell in love with the script, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my best, and I did it on a callback on Skype. We managed to meet with Adrian, and then I was confirmed, and I got to Kiev. Well, now I'm better with the soft. I learned with these COVID things, you have to do it because it's that's nowadays the thing.
This is how it works most of the time. Adrian, how did you approach casting? Did you have faces or performers in mind when you wrote the script years ago? Or did you just went along with new ideas when the pre-production process started?
Well, yes, I of course certain type in mind, but I never try to be too stick to that. I allow myself to be surprised, let's say, by actors, and sometimes I like to just choose the opposite than what I had in mind when I was writing, because you have to step out of your own, let's say, cliches. But because when we got confirmed, when Scott was confirmed, we really had to go really quickly actually into production. So that's why the whole casting process was kind of quick, because we had to find all the other actors on a pretty short notice. And I was at that point I was doing pre-production in Ukraine, so the international actors were not in Ukraine. So I had to, do a lot of self-tapes, which now is very normal, as they said, but back then actually it was kind of different. And all the three actors were different, because Martin, I remember looking at his self-tape with Alla, the producer, and we were both just watching, and she looked at me and said, "This is a movie," and it was just Martin talking. I mean, he says, it flowed, and it definitely did. And Victor, yes.
Go for it. Go for Victor.
Yeah, it was just, it was, we were both watching this video as if we were watching a movie, but it was no lighting. There was no other, it was just him. And this was just like, we were like, okay, wow, this is amazing.
Isn't it great when you receive tapes like that? I've been in the same position, receiving tapes, lots of them for one role, and you have this idea in your mind, and you're looking for the actor or the actress who's going to get the closest possible as what you imagine writing the script. But sometimes you receive a tape and you say, and this tape just puts everybody else out of the game. Was it this kind of feeling?
Definitely, because I got a lot of tapes, and also for other parts, and sometimes you're really struggling to get through them. But Martin's tape was just like, wow, this is a movie. All of a sudden it felt like a movie. So that was fun. Well, Victor, I know already for a long time, so I know what he can do. We worked on self tapes actually before with him. I helped him with that, and so I know exactly how subtle and how precise he can be as an actor, and this part of Maxime is perfect for him. As you said, it wasn't my first choice, because I had to go for Ukrainian and UK-based actors. But luckily, one of the actors dropped, so we had an emergency and said, "Okay, Victor, he's Spanish, but okay, now let's go for him." So
one thing that's surprising is we're talking about an action film here. We're talking about a movie that's going to find its way, and already found its way, to distribution, because there's a demand and there's a huge market for action films. But each and every actor and actress who's with us right now talked about the quality of the script, which is usually not what you talk about when you are promoting an action film. So I already know what you told me a couple of days ago, Adrian, about the quality of the script and what you wanted to achieve in terms of characters and characters arc. But I would like to know a little bit more. For example, let's go with Martin. You said the script was good. Can you explain us a little bit? Did you feel from the beginning this was different, or did you feel this had potential? What was your position on that script?
It's not. It's like I was saying before. It's something visceral. You're not. When it works, it works. I mean, it is sort of that yeah, you could unpick it and say there was immediately a point of view. It had a kind of noir edginess to it. There was sort of quirky shifts in terms of the point of view of the script, and so it made it feel like slightly anarchic, and because that style is done so much, as you say, and so how you step outside of it, and that of course enhances the actual action stuff in the process. And that's the brave thing, really, in retrospect, is to be able to say that you remember you remember other really relevant points that are being made in the script, and it somehow is meaningful to the action, and that can only be a really good thing.
Yeah, that's usually that's supposed to be when you learn how to write an action film, and when you learn to write a film, every scene has to bring something to the story, and everything has to be following some kind of motivation or something that's going to make the character grow. And I feel that's what you had, guys, on this film. Victor, what's your take on that? What was your first gut feeling reading that script?
No, actually, what I also liked a lot is that on one hand, yes, it's an action movie, but the characters are fully developed and the female characters are fully developed. So, for example, Yulia, Sasha, she's one of the lead characters, and then Honor, Lisa, as the daughter of Martin. They are really shaping the story, because Scott, of course, he has to save Lisa, but actually it's because of the roles of Sasha and Lisa that actually everything happened. So in a way, I think it's a very advanced movie, coming from more of a typical action movie, but it goes into another level. And I think that is what really makes it a very interesting. And I think even with time, the movie will become more of a classic in a way, because I think it has all these ingredients that make it like
it does.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And I would like to come back on one thing you mentioned and give the ball to Julia. The female characters in that film are strong, and these characters, female characters, make the movie move forward. So how was it? I guess it was cool for you to have this kind of a role as Sasha.
I mean, it's just amazing, because I live in Italy, and most of the projects, female parts, they are really, really weak. I don't think it's only in Italy, but like in general, it's hard to find a film where the female character is developed. It's the one who is moving the story also forward, and that is strong. And in this film, for me, that's why I just really wanted to do it. And initially, my part supposed to be older, but then I was so happy they chose me, because I just loved it. And for me, to have a part that is so strong and so developed and so alive, and has her like a backstory and this, a little bit of darkness, or the reason why she's doing that, actually not just my character, but each one of them, it was just great. And I'm just really grateful that I was a part of this project. And the script is just amazing. That's the whole point. And the female parts are really strong in this film. That's why I mean, for me, this is really like wow.
Yeah, you are Ukrainian, are you?
Yeah, I'm Ukrainian. Yes, I'm originally from Ukraine, but I live in Italy.
You were already on location. You were already there to be available for the movie.
They flew me in from Italy to Ukraine, and I was shooting actually another film in Rome. So I was like flying a lot from Kiev to Rome all the time, and because it was like contemporary, the same time.
Conflict, schedule conflict.
Yeah, exactly.
And she liked the script. she liked the script so much that she fell in love with the director. You know.
Actually, yeah. It's a little bit big, but actually that's the truth.
That's the intro story.
Can
I
you
fell in love
tell me,
first with the
guys?
script and after with the director.
That's a good start. How was it to shoot in such incredible locations in Kiev? Victor, do you want to go with it?
Well, actually, yeah, it was fantastic. Actually, I had been like a month before shooting an advert for the US, and I had been there, but then I had the chance of going again for the movie, which was like I had like my Ukrainian year last year. But the locations are amazing, but it was all frozen. It was super cold. But what surprised me was actually how professional all the crew was. It was high level. You could feel as if you were in the US shooting, or if you were in a. So the fact that we were in Ukraine was almost an anecdote in a way, even though we have all the different, settings and locations. But in terms of how it was shot, I was just feeling that we were in a traditional Hollywood movie that could be anywhere in the world. It was, for me, it was a great experience.
Yeah, it's not the first time, and Adrian told me a little bit about it 2 days ago. The quality of the crew and of the job they did for this movie, and it's not the first time I heard this about other movies shot there, and people are amazed about the level of commitment the crew locally have. Did you have the same experience, Martin? Because when you make such a movie, you have, I mean, money, budget is at stake, but you still want to make the best movie you can. And when you rely on people that are giving their best to the film, what else can you ask for?
Yeah, I think that the way it's felt to me, like it was the important thing was the way that the film was so much a part of being in Kiev. That kind of that the settings, the way that the buildings looked, the way the kind of the people just were. Like for example, I had a kind of SAS attack squad that would we would chase Scott around, and these guys were all like covered up and with the hood thing on and stuff, but they were clearly really good, like great stunt guys kind of thing. But it turns out that they're actually Ukrainian SAS guys, so just taking a break from fighting.
Wow.
And there was this really, remember that older guy who was the Adrian, do you know what I mean? That crew, there was an older guy. It was like in his 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
Like a tree. And they would just like with the gun, and it was just like full on. It was perfect. You couldn't make that up. And if you try to Tom Cruise it and get your guys to act like that, it would just look hammy or stunt guy-ish. But these guys were totally for real. And it was a bit spooky actually, because they literally had come from whatever they'd been doing.
These guys do have the skills that makes you wonder at some point what they do when they're not shooting movies.
Well, actually,
they're fighting a war.
They're fighting a war.
What they do in the real life, actually.
Yeah, they were just taking it great, having a little fun.
When I was in the scene with Honor, with Lisa, and in the boxing club, some of the extras actually between takes, they were actually telling me stories about their lives. And I can tell you, war, and they were even telling me sometimes how many people they had killed in the previous war, or in boxing stories. So it was like, wow, it was all real in a way. Yeah, it was amazing.
It's recently it was 2014, wasn't it, Yulia? The war, the main part. It's recent, and if you go to their the War Museum, which is basically a World War II memorial, there is a big section on this recent Civil War and just the trauma of it. It sort of is everywhere. And when we were there, the new prime minister was being inaugurated. Do you remember that? And there was a little bit of kind of, will the Russians come now? Because everything's
The new
up in the air.
president, Martin. The new
What's that?
president. New
The president.
president. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was just kind of amped up.
I assume, Adrian, I assume you have explained that from the Russian side it was not very well perceived, or have you explained some of those anecdotes? That you
I
had?
didn't get that. Adrian, now is the time.
Well, this is a long story, I must say, but I had a previous version of the script that the Russian Secret Service was not very happy with, and they made that clear to us. So there was only one option, is to change the script. I'm not going to tell too much about this, but
how did they get their hands on the script?
We'll be live.
Yeah, I don't know. There's spies everywhere. You know, it's a spy story, but it was also a spy story in reality in many ways, because we were monitored by Russian Secret Service. Also, the Ukrainian part was because the film had a political element to it that was very topic, and they just wanted to know what we're doing. That was clear. Yeah.
But he was asking me for 1.5 years if I'm a secret agent from Putin or from Russia, you know.
I still think Yulia is an undercover agent. Honestly.
He still thinks that I'm.
He's investigating you, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm investigating already for some time.
And she's investigating you also, because I guess you're right.
Yes.
So I'd like to talk about, you talked about how realistic and basically how real that was on set with everything that happened in the past, in the recent past, in these places, in these countries, which brings me to the realistic side of the fights. I've been watching Scott Adkins' YouTube page, and we all know who Scott Adkins is and how good he is at martial arts and fighting. But I felt Legacy of Lies, he's one of these new films, the new generation of films, let's say, that followed John Wick, with this very gritty, realistic, long fight when you can feel when the guy gets a punch in the face, he does get a punch in the face. And that goes from the choreography, the stunt coordination, but also sound design and everything that comes in the making of the movie. How did you, Adrian, work with the stunt coordination team and with Scott to achieve this realistic fight a la Jason Bourne or this kind of movies like John Wick?
Yes, well, Scott and Tim Mann. Tim is the fight coordinator. They are a great team. But with Scott, you can go any way you want. You can make it as Chinese as you want, and you can make like real spectacular kind of fight that is but I wanted to make it really gritty and real, and as much as a fist fight as possible, and to really feel the pain and feel the punches and feel that they get tired at one point within the fight. Well, as you can see here, it's pretty gritty.
It's really great, and it doesn't stop. It keeps going and going and going. I mean, when you work with stunt coordinators, you talk about the number of punch and the number of clicks and whatever the word they use. But these kind of fights you have in Legacy of Lies, it keeps going and going and going and going.
Yeah, this was part of it. I really wanted to have the audience to be inside the fight and to really be part of this and not just like a short intermezzo. But the sound, what you mentioned, is very important. We had a British studio, Steffi Carmel, who made really, the sounds really make that you feel the punch, and it's such an important part of the design. Because if you would watch it without sound, like now, it's different. You can, of course, see that it's a heavy fight. But with the sound, it's a huge difference.
Absolutely. How was it on an actor perspective because it's kind of a boy's dream to be in an action film. So how did you guys enjoy that, to be there actually on the set of an action film? Martin, I see you smiling.
Well, I was smiling because I didn't get to do anything. I didn't get to do any. I just ran around a lot with my guys who knew what they were doing and sort of looking upstairs and stuff. But I never got to, anyway. Yeah, those are
next time. Was a sequel.
Yeah, that's right. But I've been in a few action movies over the years, and it is fun. But then after a while, you realize it's quite heavy to hold a gun all the time. So you have to, so that cool feeling kind of wears a bit thin, and then you actually that's when you start to get good, because you're sort of like having to actually do it. But yeah, I'll let other people answer who
Victor
did stuff.
Well, I was very pleased with the scene that we have with Scott in the nightclub when he comes to the nightclub, and of course we have our intellectual little fight or battle, but then there is the moment when he kills. Well, spoiler, he kills me, and and to prepare that and to rehearse that was also great. But then right after that, the scene goes into all his fight with all my bodyguards. And to be there and see how he was preparing that was amazing. I mean, I have to say, Scott for me, it was a great experience to be with him and to shoot the scene with him, and to see how when he got into the fighting mode, it was extremely professional. And so the whole process was great. The one towards me when we have the gun fighting or shooting between us, but then to see how he got into the real fight with everyone, it was like being inside. Of course, we were there, and it was amazing. It was great.
Julia, you get to run a little in that film, and you get to be part of the action. Can you describe that experience?
I'm a really bad runner. I'm completely not prepared for physical things like action, but everyone was laughing at me. But Scott was really, really professional, and he taught me that action and the fight is like a choreography in a way. So he showed me like how should I act in order to not hurt myself, and it's like the movement is like dancing a tango or dancing like a dance, and you have to really. I mean, he's just really professional in that matter, and I think we've done a good job, because for me, if he has managed me to have like a little fight train stations, not like a fight, but he grabs me now and he tries to suffocate me and he knocks me off. And let's say, I was scared that he'll suffocate me for real or he'll, hurt me, but he didn't. He was really, and to act and to do that in the same time, for me, it was kind of new experience, and I really enjoyed it. No, there's a running scene that is not in the film, by the way, because Adrian cut it out because he didn't like my running at all. Because Scott was so fast, and I couldn't stay. Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah. I just couldn't. Scott was running like fast, like crazy, and I was like doing my best, and still I was like really far away from him. And he was like, Julia, but why don't I was like, and Scott was like, Julia, but where are you? So yeah.
So how do you, Adrian? How do you? Because you have the stunt coordination team, you have all the crew members. When you have an action scene to direct, and maybe you had a B team, I don't know, what's the director's job? What was your job as captain of the ship to steer the scenes in the direction you wanted? And I'm talking about action scenes mainly.
Yeah. Well, the fight scenes, my job was to design with Tin Man, first of all, what kind of fight, and then let's say the arc within the fight. How do I want the characters to feel at certain moments? In the opening fight, and there's also interaction with the daughter while he's doing an MMA fight. So, it's kind of, okay, these moments need to be, punched, let's say. And then, but the actual fighting coordination, I leave it very much up to Tim. I'm watching the monitor. We discuss. He asks me, is this what you want? What do you think about this? We're constant in let's say, in dialogue about that. The other action scenes are very much, I really design them up front, what kind of shots I need, for instance, for the car chase, for the shootouts, because I just want to, use the time on set as efficient as possible. So I worked a lot with the DP. How can we, as efficient as possible, shoot these scenes? I storyboard them because on set I just want to be 100% clear what I'm going to shoot.
How many cameras did you have for the action scenes?
Two.
Two, one
mostly.
master, one wide, and one more close-up, I guess.
Basically, for the fight scenes, we had two cameras, but I hardly used the second camera because, with Tim, we just design the fights and the punches and the cuts really, really as it's going to be edited. So there's really basically no need for a second camera. It was more of a backup. It was more to have some inserts of audience or inserts of details. But we ended up not really using that much. For the action sequences, the shootouts, it's always two cameras. So, you just have like a closer and a wider, so you can always cut, and you don't have to repeat the
So basically,
the
it was
as much.
two Steadicam cameras at the same time?
No, one Steadicam. One Steadicam and one
Steadicam?
Steady. Yeah, or two Steady, not just one Steadicam, that's what we had. And the other camera would be or either on a tripod or handheld, or both handheld or both on a tripod.
Okay. How is it, guys, when you are on a film such a scale? It's not a huge $20 million, $100 million blockbuster, but still, it's a $4.5 million movie. It's an action film. You have Scott Adkins. You are shooting in Kiev. How do you deal with, as an actor, enjoying the set and at the same time keeping in mind that you have characters to defend on screen and you have a part to play in that fictitious universe? Victor, how do you balance the fun and the job of it?
Well, in the end, it's our job. So you take the best of the two worlds when you're doing this job. One, to enjoy the setting, to enjoy the people, to enjoy the atmosphere, because that's what we love to be shooting. But you know that you have to do your preparation for the character. So when you know that you are getting close to the action, you are totally that character. Actually, in my particular case, I really enjoyed the preparation of the character on set when we were with Scott, and I had my cigar, so I was just smoking my cigar and getting into all the atmosphere, and it was I almost got dizzy in the end with a cigar, But the thing is that again, it's our job, so it doesn't matter if it's a $100 million production or if it's a student short film. In the end, you have this feeling that you are enjoying being with the crew, enjoying being with the other actors, enjoying being with the extras, enjoying being with the director of photography, with everyone that is involved in the shooting. But then you have characters, so it was okay. It was good.
Martin, do you concur with that?
Absolutely, I agree with all of that, and I also think you have. It's interesting, that notion of protecting what you're trying to do, and that can mean different things at different scales, for sure. Because if you're at the big top drawer money pictures, then the pressure is on to deliver in a kind of freak out way, trying to deal with that. But behind that, even, there's still the notion of you just want to do a really good job, and if you do a good job, then it naturally is fun to do. Well, seems to be anyway.
It is. Julia, what about you? How do you get the fun of an action film and still defending your character at the same time?
Well, like the guy said, and Victor said that, it doesn't matter if it's like 5 million film or 5,000 film, $5,000 film, whatever. We're actors, we're working in the character. We try to bring truth to the character and to the story by telling, by living basically the life of the character. And for me, it's like, yeah, on set, I can be a professional, but outside I can laugh and have fun, and, and it's life. I mean, it's not so like, okay, I have to be from now on, I'm not speaking to people. I did it. but now I was so depressed, like on my previous project. So I understood that I just need to balance my own life with the life of actor.
Yeah,
Victor.
there are different styles of actors. I think the three of us, we like to interact between takes, and that doesn't put us off character, even though you have to protect yourself a little bit, and of course, just some minutes before you have to get ready. But it's true that there are some other actors. I was recently shooting with Mario Casas, one of the top Spanish actors in Spain, and he didn't speak to me during the whole day that we were shooting. And I thought he was really, he's not a friendly guy. But as soon as we finished, he just got out of character and then he relaxed. Everyone has his or her own style, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you deal with that, Adrian? How do you deal with how do you direct actors on set? What's your approach on that? Because it depends a lot on actors. I don't have one magic recipe to work with actors. I find that you have to adjust all the time with each and every one of them. Do you feel the same?
Well, my main goal is first of all to talk with the actors that that they understand the script the way I understand it, so there's no confusion about what I'm trying to aim for, and if they have other ideas to discuss that. But that's more about let's say what is the goal in the scene, and how do we want to design that. My second aim is to create an atmosphere that is as safe as possible for the actors, so they can open up and they're not afraid to make a mistake. I hear from a lot of actors that a lot of atmospheres on set, the atmosphere on the set can be very negative and stressed out, because you have to do so many things in this one day. Everything's pressed, and it all comes down to this one moment of shooting. And if then an actor makes a mistake, then it's like, oh fuck, we lose another 5 or 10 minutes. So I try to give them the space to play and to make mistakes. And thirdly, it's like every actor has its own kind of approach. So in my first meeting with actors, I always try to find out what is for them the most convenient and relaxed way of working. And then I'll try to facilitate that, because they are in the end the ones that give life to the scene. They are the angels of the film.
I second that. It's you have to remember all the time. Being a director myself, you make a movie, you put everything you have into it, but when people are going to watch it in cinemas, on TV, on their phones, sometimes they're not going to know who you are as a director. They're going to see the actors. They are going to carry the movie, and they're going to bring it to the audience. So you have to leave them, I believe, that space so they can make your movie better. I have one last question for each of you, and this is going to be more like a promo question. Imagine you are on national TV and you have a 20 seconds elevator speech to make, so people to convince people to come to the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards and watch this film. You have 20 seconds. Victor, we'll start with you.
Well, if you like action movies, but at the same time movies that have characters that are interesting, that change, and that are in challenging situations, you are going to enjoy this movie, because it's not only about action only. It's about saving lives and about evolving as a human being in the story. And it has also this political background there all the time. Great location. So enjoy it.
1 point for Victor. I like it. I want to watch the film. Julia, your turn. 20 seconds. Pitch the movie so we buy a ticket.
Okay, guys, if you want to watch an amazing film with an amazing action film with a story underneath that, with a story that tells about truth and no lies, you gotta go and watch the Scott Adkins film Legacy of Lies. And in this film, you can maybe also discover something about yourself, and maybe you're gonna question yourself something and change your life.
Okay, 1 point for you.
20 seconds?
20
I
seconds.
did it less.
Martin, what would be your pitch?
They've taken all the good stuff, but anyway, I'll try. my pitch would be, if you hate action movies, then this is the film for you. And that all of your assumptions about why action movies don't work emotionally, politically, as we've just been hearing, will be answered by watching this film. And for those who do love action films, it's just a way to get your head out of that box, because there's enough of the sort of things that normally string people along in terms of just physical action, but you're actually allowed to grow as well.
Okay, I like it. The final word is going to be for the director of the film, Adrian. How would you pitch your film, your own film?
Well, I'm the writer-director, so I don't think I'm the person to promote my own film. I think listen to the actors. I think they've said everything that is worth saying. Watch the film, and I really hope that you like it. And what I said in my previous interview is that if there's a way to give feedback, or to just give me your opinion about what you thought about the film, I would really appreciate that.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to discussing about this film and to promote it and to explain what this experience has been for you. I'm very happy we get the chance to do this, and I encourage every viewer of the Hollywood Art and Movie Awards to go to this link, because this is exactly where you're going to have all the movies of the festival. But tomorrow, January 21st at 7 p.m. PST, Los Angeles time, we're going to screen Legacy of Lies. Guys, thank you so much. And I hope we're going to have the chance to talk with you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It was nice to see you. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
The Russians' position in this case is becoming increasingly bizarre. You know what the next step is? They're going to start blaming the Americans.
This is a major incident. It was attempted murder by administration of a nerve agent.
We're here because of your tete-a-tete with that Cuban boy. You need to pack your stuff, Liz.
Why is it always...
I haven't got time to argue with you. Just pack your stuff.
Martin Baxter, ex-spy with a troubled soul. I want the files and the reporter. Dead or alive, I don't care.
The Russians have got Lisa and they're going to kill her. If I don't get the case to them by 10 p.m. tonight, she's dead. Do you know what we're up against, right?
I want those files published.
We quit MI6. We had an agreement. You don't mess with our business. We don't mess with yours.